Welcome to More Action, the podcast for entrepreneurs, business owners, and professionals. I'm your host, Sheley Brien, and together we have candid conversations with industry leaders to uncover valuable wisdom and lessons learned. My hope is you use these lessons to intentionally take more action in business and life. I hope you share and enjoy. Today's episode is all about 3 beliefs that I held just as soon as 5 years ago that truly changed my life when I let go. And if you're new to the show here on More Action, I am all about sharing experiences from the past as well as the present, those of my guests, in kind of that like no BS format, in the way that I wish I had someone who shared this with me in the past. But also, I wish I was ready to receive it in the past. So I do this now to help you. And today I was hit by a few different things kind of going on. And I talk a lot about on the show. If you're new, okay, welcome in. But I talk a lot about stories and truths. And it all comes back to these beliefs that we've had. And, we believed them to our core. They were a truth until we experienced something different, or until we read something, or until we met someone that challenged that truth, that belief that we held, and turn it into a story. And so I just think this is something I do often, and it has really helped me propel to new levels over the last several years. So these were just 3 beliefs that I'm going to share with you today that I held truth. I held as total truths in my life, which prevented me and kept me kind of stagnant in this one area. It prevented me from getting to the growth that I wanted. It prevented me from being the leader. It prevented me from having the business that I wanted because I held these as true. And now I can tell you, based upon experience, these were all stories. These were beliefs. And it has been incredibly freeing. It's been incredibly lucrative. And I am just excited to share these with you today. So if you are new on the show, welcome in. If you haven't already, make sure you hop over to YouTube, hit subscribe wherever you are as far as YouTube, Spotify, Apple, and make sure that you do not miss any of the episodes coming out here. So let's dive into the first truth, okay, or first belief that I held. Is that something is going to be easy, which makes it hard. So I would think like, wow, I see all these people on social media, or I see all these people out and about at these events, and it looks like business ownership and entrepreneurship, that's super easy, totally easy. Oh, how about this one? Losing weight, then keeping it off. Well, man, I see all these videos and all these people, and it just looks so easy. And then when when you get it off, it's just easy to just keep it off. How about building a brand? You think that's going to be easy. And let me tell you, it is very hard. And even those that are experts in it, it's definitely still an evolving door on what it looks like. Or raising kids. You believe it's going to be easy to raise kids. And it's funny because I could think of this in so many different ways, but you have a belief that something is going to be easy that you're taking on. And that belief of easy means when it gets hard, it's contradicting your belief. This should be easy. I have seen all these other people do it. So it makes it harder and harder to be able to stay committed to what it is that you're going after. Now, I'm going to give a real personal experience about this, like something that happened with me more outside of business, but then also how I have changed this perspective going forward. So I used to, when Chris and I first got married, we're about ready to celebrate 19 years married, our 19th wedding anniversary here in May. And I remember with my dad, who I no longer speak with at this point, it's been about, 6 years, but it would always be really hard and really challenging. And I would get very apprehensive about it because I had this belief that he's my dad. It should be really easy. There should be nothing, this shouldn't be a hard encounter. And there was one day that Chris looked at me and he's like, "Why are you expecting this to be easy? You should expect it to be hard. You should expect him to say these comments. You should expect it." And it sounds so simple. I get it. Sounds so simple, but I changed my expectation of what I was going to experience. Something that I thought should be easy, I changed it expecting what was going to happen. I didn't label it easy or hard. I just expect what is. And it made the time until I ended the relationship, it made the time as good as it could be. It eliminated significant stress off me. It made it easier for my family, my kids. And so the first one, I share that. I didn't go into too many details, as you can imagine, but I share that as like a change your expectation. And it's even challenging your expectation. What do I expect right here? And you might not even realize the expectations that you are placing on others that you have no control over. So when you change your expectations back to you on what you're about to experience, it will literally change your experience. Now, one other thing too, when it comes to this easy versus hard, is labeling. You've heard me talk about this before if you have been around on the show. Labeling things as good or bad, easy or hard. Whatever we label, whatever we label is about to happen, that's what our mind is expecting to happen. So remove the label. It's what is going to happen. It's not that it's good or bad. This is just what is. So I am going to lose weight. It's just what is. Keeping it off is going to continue for the rest of my life. This is my lifestyle now. This is how I will conduct my nutrition. This is how I will conduct my exercise. Building a business, same thing. Easy or hard, change your expectation to make sure that you are expecting that what is coming is going to be different. It's going to challenge you. And how are you going to go through it? But remove those labels and it will absolutely change the way that you approach something. Or when you have a fire come up in the middle of the day, talk about working in a lot of gray area. We have a construction company. So there is lots that comes up and you got to remove the label of what happened. Now, the second belief that I held was owning multiple businesses is the only way to make real money or become wealthy. I'm like laughing because like that's all you see on social media. No matter where you are, whichever social media platform you use, it's do this and you'll have $5,000 months. Now do this and you'll have $20,000 months. And I know I need to have another business. I should have another business. Should, that's another word we got to just get rid of. But we did this. I did this. Chris and I did this. We had multiple businesses because that's what, the business guru experts that we were in contact with at the time made us believe. And we also believed it too. It's what we see. It's so easy. Make real money. You have multiple businesses. And I can tell you without a doubt, Chris and I did this for, oh gosh, maybe almost 20 years now. And you spread yourself way too thin and zero focus. The other thing I started doing was challenging that. Is that true? Or is that a belief? Is that a story? And I started finding people, incredibly wealthy people that stayed in their lane, in their business, and completely trump anybody else that has multiple businesses. So I found proof that challenged that belief that I had. And when I was going through and we had all the businesses, this is just as 3 years ago, multiple businesses. And I was at an event, and someone at the event, one of the speakers, talked and shared a little bit about this too. But she's like, I want you guys to do an exercise. And she's like, what are the values that you want within a company that you own? And I went through and I listed the values: time, money, the people I want to work with, all of these things. I went down. And then she's like, now I know most of you guys have multiple businesses. Go through each business and see which one matches the values that you want. And one of the ones that I had been going all in on, I thought this was the one. It hit so many things like on the surface. But when I dug down into my values, it couldn't be farther from what I wanted. And that made it incredibly clear to me that I needed to step down and move away from that business. So I highly encourage trying that. If you believe that to be true, that you need to have multiple businesses to have real wealth, the value system and comparing it, I think, is incredibly important. Finding proof that challenges that belief. You could even look at people like Warren Buffett. Challenge that thought that you need to own and have and lead and manage all of these different businesses. Get rid of the excess noise. For Chris, one of the best things that he could do was he actually really stepped away from social media because he found that was influencing him so much. You can also make sure that your friend circle is the right friend circle that is keeping you focused and in line and not placing excess pressure on you that you need to own multiple businesses to be able to be wealthy and jump here and do this. And I actually use an Opal app to really help hone this for me because I see it on social media, and Chris and I are super entrepreneurial. So we have these tendencies to see these things and these problems, and we're like, we could solve it. We could solve it. And I can tell you without a doubt, I have shared this more often on one-to-one conversations, going through all the businesses that we have, shutting them all down and going 100% into our construction business has yielded more wealth than we could have ever imagined. Plus, we are more fulfilled, and it is aligned with our values. Now, there's a quote. I just shared this on Instagram. I hope we're connected there. If we're not, make sure you follow me. I'll follow you right back. Send me a DM. But this quote is from Naval, and it says, the more you know, the less you diversify. Now, if you don't know Naval, I highly recommend do a little search and you'll find out. He created Angel List. He is an incredible investor. He's had more unicorn investors than most, or investments than most, and just has really perfected this trifecta of like health, wealth, and happiness. And it's very interesting. But this quote hits home. The more you know, the less you diversify. What I take that as, become the expert in your one field. You don't need to diversify. It's not like an investment. You need to go all in on your one and go deeper and become that expert. All right, now my last one. And oh my gosh, this one, literally in the last little bit here, it changes the way that we make decisions. So my last belief that I wish I let go of a long time ago was, it will be quick. It'll be so quick. We'll be able to achieve that in a year. We could do that in 6 months. Oh, look at that. We'll start that business and then it'll be so easy. It'll be so quick. So I don't know about you. If you're smiling, I'm smiling. If you can see it on YouTube right now, is that experience where maybe you didn't hit your success timeline and it was like this huge letdown. This can cause frustration, and it can cause this like start over cycle, which then goes to owning multiple businesses, right? You're not willing to burn the boat. So you're like, oh, well, this one isn't hit. It's not doing it fast enough. So I better go start this business. And so then you get that business till that one point, you still have the old one. Now you have this new business. And then it's getting to that kind of like point where it's like, oh, is it going to turn over? Is it not? Is this taking too long? Why is this taking so long? And then you're like, oh, well, maybe that one just needs more time. I'm going to put that one to the side, like my first one. Now here's my next business. Stop. Change your perspective of time. And for me, I had to start speaking in decades. Now I'm 44. Okay. So you're never too late to start changing this perspective of time when it comes to your career, when it comes to building your business, your family, whatever it is start speaking in decades. That is something that Chris and I have done since day one with our construction company. And it changes the way you handle day-to-day tasks. It changes the way you make decisions. It changes the way you invest back into the company. It changes the way that you speak to those around you. So I can't tell you enough. This is something we all want it. High achievers, I get it. We want it. We want it now. Start speaking in decades, start thinking in decades, start analyzing your decisions in decades, and it will completely change your outlook. And I challenge that it would even change your success. And even with the time one, it'll be quick. I can tell you, if you've been around for a while, you know, health is a big thing for me. The more I let go of like my time horizons, business and in health, the more and actually faster it feels like I realize my desired results. So this is specifically true in health, is like, we're always like, oh my gosh, I got to lose X amount of pounds this month or whatever. And so then you like, go, go, go. And then you crash at the end. Focus longer out. How do I want to feel a year from now? I'm already thinking, I just turned 44. I'm already thinking about 45. What do I want that to feel like? And then when I'm 50, how old will my kids be? When are my kids getting married? Then I'm like, well, when I'm a grandparent, how do I want to be? I start thinking about that now, because that means that those decisions that I make daily towards my health are for realized in the future. They are long term. They are investment decisions, not transactional decisions. It will take longer than you expect, but I got to tell you, is start talking in decades, and it will change the way you conduct business and you conduct the things in your career. So these are 3 beliefs. Like I said, the belief that something is going to be easy, and that belief actually makes it hard. The second one is that owning multiple businesses is the only way to make real money or have real wealth. And I'm like, quote, quote, real. And then it will be quick. Whatever it is for you, health, business, relationships, whatever it is will be quick. Change it to decades. Start talking in decades, and it will change your trajectory where you will actually you will reach your desires much quicker. That's my experience. That's what I'm here about. I'm not telling you what to do, so I hope you're not taking it this way. But man, I wish someone would have told me these 3 things just as early as 5 years ago. And it would have changed a lot of decisions that I had made where we might be in a different place right now. The cool thing is that I know it now. And now I can start making all of these changes and apply it to everything in our life. And I already feel and see the realized results of changing this. So I hope you could take this mindset, these beliefs, apply it to your life. And don't forget, if you think someone else could hear from this, right? If someone else could benefit from kind of hearing these beliefs, you've maybe heard them talk about this, or someone's feeling the pressure of starting another business from someone else, send this over to them. Whether they do or not, it's not up to you. But hopefully this will challenge them to think really deep about it. So I appreciate you sharing. This show grows because of you. And again, don't forget to hit subscribe, and we will talk to you again soon.